Hey, English 101, welcome to week 4. Last week, you should have had a chance to look through all of the group materials, have some idea who's in your group, and been able to access your Google Doc. This week, we're going to concentrate on what you should do in that Google Doc and looking at the assignment, excuse me, as well as reviewing our discussion boards because I keep getting questions about them. So I want to make sure that you all are understanding what you are doing there. So let's get started. All right, so I'm going to go over this week's materials as well as our discussion board in this video. Before I go any further, though, I want to say that this is week 4. So if this is still not making enough sense to you that you feel comfortable with both Brightspace and Google, I cannot tell you how much I encourage you to make some time to go in, as I said in the video last week, and sit down with someone in the Success Center that can walk you through the technology aspects of the class. I don't work for, Best Buy. I'm not an IT person, so I can't tell you how to work your individual devices. I can tell you that the vast majority of people are able to access everything that I've given you. So I know it's working. We just have to figure out how you need to work it. All right, so I'm in our Brightspace page. Again, most everything you do in the class you can do or get to from the announcements page. So here is our week view overview, and it will always at the bottom have our quick links, right? The very first one is to our Google Class space. It also has on here the weekly materials and the calendar. So I am going to open the calendar. I always start each week when I am prepping and I'm taking classes by looking at, okay, what am I supposed to do this week? Again, the current week is always at the top. And it says that this week we're going to continue working in our groups and that you have to communicate with your members. You were each provided a Google Doc. By the end of this week, before your conferences, all of you have to have worked in that Google Doc. If you have not typed, posted in that Google Doc, then I am going to assume you're no longer participating in the class. This is not an optional assignment. It's one of the major assignments in our class. So again, communicate with your group. You can use that Google Doc. I've also got a couple emails about, are there other ways that we can communicate? And that is, of course, true. There are. So Brightspace provides you the student emails to everyone in the class, so you can look up email addresses there. You could also choose to exchange information in your Google Doc if you would like to. Those are the 2 ways that I'm giving you. And then anything else that you want to do, I guess it's kind of up to you. I don't typically tell students how to communicate because people have different ways to do it. The only way that I've given you is that doc. You can all write to each other and comment to each other in there. And if that's not working for your group, then you can figure something else out. That does work for the members of your groups. Lots of my groups use Snapchat or create text message threads, those type of things. But again, that's up to your individual group to decide. This week, you're going to be working on your proposal and you're going to attend a conference with me. So we're going to start there with those things. Additionally, there's a reading and always our weekly discussion board. Okay, so let's go back to our Brightspace page. Again, this is just the home page. This is the announcements page. I looked at the calendar first, and then the next thing I want to do is go to our Google Class space because I also want to go back and look at the assignment. So as you know, we are on our E2 position paper assignment. I assume everyone has looked at this because you should have already submitted your E1 and then looked at your E2 assignment. For the topic categories, previously, they were posted in the comment to the side. You see it over here, where it says what you should do for E1 and what you should do for E2. I have moved those into the actual document. Some of you, depending on how you're accessing it, the comments are harder to read, apparently on the phone or the tablet. So to make that easier, it's over here. So for this group paper, we're building on what we did in E1. So for our first one, we had to identify a positive or a negative issue within our community and then do a yes or no paper on a question that addresses that issue. We're doing the same thing for E2. We've just added a couple of elements to it. So this time, the first thing your group needs to communicate to each other and talk about are, what communities do you all belong to, right? That's going to take you all coming up with some things on your own and being able to willing to say, hey, these are some of the things that I'm into, these are some of the places that I frequent, these are the things that are important to me, and kind of see what you can come to a consensus about. At the bare minimum, and I do mean bare minimum, all of you are a community of learners. All of you are a community of college students, more specifically community college students, even more specifically SWIC community college students. And if you even want to go further, the vast majority are even first year college students. So you absolutely have communities in common. They may have absolutely nothing to do with education. Talk and find out. But once you've identified that community that your group wants to work with, you'll do the same thing. Choose a positive or negative issue within that community, and then draft an argumentative yes or no question. You're going to write one paper that's a yes answer to your question and one paper that's a no answer to your question. That is the gist of the position paper assignment. The other things that we're adding new with E2 is that you must have at least one image in your assignment, and that you must use the use of rhetorical appeals. So ethos, right? That's credibility. You might want to think about source use there. Pathos, that's the emotional appeal of it. How does this make me feel something about your topic? Affect me on an emotional level. And then logos, that's the logic. And logic part is the part that I think more of you have a handle on. And that's because this happens, and then this happens, where we put those chains of evidence together, or when we're using facts or statistics to kind of support our point of view. So those are the things that we're doing in this assignment. The assignment is still the same in terms of the requirements, right? So you're still going to write 2 500-word or less papers divided up by your group members, which means the harder part of this assignment is not writing the actual words. Most of your groups have 5 or so people, a couple have 6, a couple have 4, right? So that's like 200 words a person, like max, right? Which means that once you all have those drafts, the harder part is coming in and thinking about what can we say better, what can we say less of, what do we need to add, change, or remove? How do we make sure this sounds like one voice and not like 6 voices? So I really expect you to put the time into the back end of the assignment in the revising phase. All right, so I'm going to go back to our homepage. This time at the bottom of the quick links, you'll see for each team, I went ahead and reiterated what your team members are and a link to your Google Doc. Again, this is what the Google Doc looks like. All of you have editor's rights. You can comment in here, you can type in here, you can do all of those things, right? It is my suggestion that you really use this notes part. So if you haven't started talking to your group members, then today, right now, pause the video and type in your Google Doc, hey, this is my name, this is one of the communities I think we should focus on. Make a suggestion, because you have to get started this week. Absolutely. The next thing is your proposal section. You'll see that out to the side in the comments, there's a list of 4 things that I want you to write in the proposal section. I want at least a copy of the image that you're looking with. I want a working title in some way, which in this case is going to be your question, right? Your yes or no question. I kind of just want you to talk a little bit about what you all think about that question. And then number 4, I would argue, is really important. It's your jobs list. It's going to say so-and-so agreed to do this, and so-and-so agreed to do that, and so-and-so agreed to do this. And this is when we plan to have those things in this Google Doc where you can see them, Shante. So that's what you should be working on this week. All right. So that's your group assignment. That's how to access and use your Google Doc. The next thing is going to be signing up for a conference. That link is also in the announcement section. You'll see it takes you to a Sign Up Genius link, right? When you find a time or a slot that works for you, and notice they're labeled differently. Some of these say face-to-face classes only. You'll want to click one that you know says online classes. So we took a survey in week 1 that said which days of the week you all were most likely to be able to come to conferences, and then what times. So you'll see for my online classes this semester, we went with Monday, and Thursday evening. A lot of you said Wednesday too, but this week, Wednesday is Valentine's Day, so I didn't think that was going to be the best way to go. So after you look at it, you and your group members will have to decide, which slot is going to work for the vast majority of us, right? I would love it if every one of your group members can come to the same conference. And then once you all decide, you know what, Monday at 6 p.m. works best for us, you'll click the link that says sign up. But that's not all that you have to do. You'll see at the bottom, there's a button that says save and continue. This is where you're really signing up. Here you'll see that this is the slot that you suggest that you picked. In the comment, I just need your section like IN5, and I need the first names of the people in your group that will be attending. Only one person has to put their name and email address in here. And then once you've done all of that and press sign up, you will be officially signed up for the time slot. Conferences are worth points. They're worth 25 points a piece, and everyone should be attending one. If for some reason your schedule is really challenging and like you are the only person of the 6 people in your group that can't make that particular time slot, email me and let me know. We can schedule a separate conference to catch you up. But it's my expectation that the vast majority of people will be working together to find the time that most people can come to and then attend together so that we can work through and talk through what you're doing in your group assignment. All right, so that's most of it. The last thing I want to do is click on the weekly materials link. And we look at the calendar. Of course, there's some things that you need to read. Writing in College and Beyond is a really important chapter that we're going to read that kind of overviews everything that we're going to do in terms of thinking about composition. There's also an example paper from a previous group. And again, that conference sign-up link is here as well. So you have those items. And last, as I said, I wanted to go over the discussion board one more time. So I'm here on our Brightspace page. I'm going to Course Tools and then Discussions. When I get to the discussion page, is a section that says weekly discussion, and there's one for each week. This is week 4, so it's DB number 4. In order to open it on Brightspace, you always click the blue link. So I'm going to click the link that says DB number 4. And all of our discussion boards are something to read or something to watch. In this week's, there's 2 videos to watch, which talk about introductions. Read the video. And then in the message box, it says post an introductory paragraph you've written from any of our assignments this semester. Your introduction should have a hook, have a thesis, underline the thesis, and be a minimum of 250 words. Now, for the vast majority of you to this point, you've only written 2 introductions, one for the yes paper in E1 and one for the no paper in E1. So you're going to be choosing from those 2 for this assignment. Some of you, that assignment, that paragraph as it is not 250 words. So you'll need to think about what you should add to it to get to that 250 word count. Then you'll press post. The post is all you have to do before Monday. At some point, you'll have to come in and reply. The replies are not due to after midterm, right? And that is just you going in and responding to your classmates with constructive feedback. I like this about your intro. I think you could do this about your intro, whatever the case may be. So when you're ready and you've watched both of these videos, you're going to press the button that says start a new thread. You'll see in the subject line, I've told you to ask a specific question for what you want your classmates to look for in your introduction. Was my thesis clear? Was it specific enough? Would you be interested in reading this paper based on what you've read here? Any of those questions are fine. And then in the paragraph box, you're going to type in that message box or copy and paste in more than likely that introduction just as you've written it and press post. That is our discussion boards. All right, so this video was a little long, but I just wanted to cover all of the questions that I've gotten in email in the last, couple of days while I was out sick. So just appreciate you all. Again, keep those questions coming in email. Please watch the videos, and if anything comes up, just let me know. Have a great week.